This is the start of the second video for the next part. You're all going to get a copy of a worksheet that looks something like this, only not filled out. This is what it should look like, something similar to this when it's filled out. I don't actually have a spare copy of this worksheet with me, so I'm going to be drawing it out in my sketchbook, but this is what yours will look like, only with your name in these areas rather than mine. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. Okay, so I just sketched out basically a copy of what your worksheet looks like. Now, what I want you to do is in this first row, see how I have the letters O, H, E, S, and A? I chose those specifically because they're different examples of each type of letter, and I'm going to show you how to tackle each one of these things in these different styles in this first column only. So these letters only go in this first column. All of the rest are your name. And I expect you to fill up at least 4 boxes. So if I wrote name here, and I want you to fill up at least 4 boxes. And so if your name is 3 letters, then please do your 3 letters and then at least 1 last initial. If your name is longer than the 5 boxes that I gave you, then just do 5 letters. Don't make a big thing out of it. So we're going to start with this top row. I'm going to focus in on the O to start with. And we're doing block letters. So when you do a basic block letter, use your edges. We're going to start with this box, and then you're going to use the edges. I gave you the box for a reason. So when we do an O, we're going to touch here, 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 and here. And then you're going to kind of turn them into curves. Just like this. To block O. It doesn't have to be too complicated, but you should be touching all of the edges of the box, and that's why I gave you the boxes. Use the edges of the box. So when you do your letter H, if you were to draw your H like this, use the sides. Notice how I'm making these 2 little lines the same length. I'm going to bring this up, bring this down, meet in the middle. And there I have a block H. Sorry, you couldn't see all of it. Okay, use your edges. Now for your E. Think of this as your outer edge of your E. You already have your main lines. So we're going to use these 3 sides of the box. Bring this down. Bring this up. Until you meet in the middle. So pretty much you're just making this shape right there for an E. S. A little bit more complicated. Draw a regular S that touches your edges like that. The bottom is going to come down and touch here. And I'm going to, before I bring that all the way around, I'm going to draw this line up, start to curve it around. I'm trying to keep these parts the same distance apart. So I did one part and then the other part. Doesn't have to be perfect, I just want to see that you're trying to touch your edges. And then A, use your corners. You can have it like flat on the top and square, or it can be pointed. Use the bottom edge. Just like that. In the next row, you're going to do your name in block letters. So you're going to be touching all of the edges of the box again, and then you're going to be doing your name. So if I was doing my name, dentist, I would be using the edge and trying to bring my D all the way over to this other side as close as possible, and then put the small D on the inside to make it a block letter. Remember, we already did the E. You know how to do that already. Use your edges. N is a little tougher. So N, you can do, I would suggest, since we're trying to touch the edges of the box, to do flat instead of pointed edges. So I'm going to bring this down. Make this flat. Bring this up. Just like that. Now, notice I'm drawing pretty heavy right now, but that's pretty much just so you guys can see it. You don't need to draw as heavy as I am. Get your sketch your lines in first and then darken them up. Okay, T, really simple. And then since I already did the E, I'm just going to skip that and go do an S over here. Okay, but so if you really are struggling to do your own name, you can follow along and do mine like I did that, but I really want you to try your own name. The next part for the next line, it says your name with serifs. So remember, serifs are these little headers and footers like this. Those are kind of big, but you get the point. So when I draw my letter, I'm going to include a serif in it. So that's these two lines sticking out back here for my D. So I'm going to draw right around the edge of that. In case you can't see it, I'm going to go over it. Okay, E. Put the little serif back here. You can also bring them down in the front if you want to get really fancy like this. For my N, it's going to need one at the top, and this is going to be kind of hard to fit in this box. Just do the best that I can. Actually, I'm going to leave the top one off and just do a bottom one. T from down on the sides like this. And then S is got them like on the ends like that. So just like that, sorry. Okay. For the next section, sans serif, remember, is just a regular letter. Okay, so it's very similar to block letters. You're going to use the whole box. You can make it into a bubble letter if you want to. So like to do a bubble letter, which would also be sans serif, you have your regular letter, but you just use rounded edges. So you don't have any straight hard edges. So my E be all like softer curves like this. Like that. Script is where it gets tougher. So if you have a hard time with script, use the website, and I'll write this down here at the bottom. Defont.com. Anything that's in calligraphy or cursive will be an example for you. So when I do script, I just try and connect my letters together, and I try and make them wavy. You can do uppercase or lowercase. I'm going to do lowercase. Cursive is kind of different. This is what an N looks like in cursive. I just realized I spelled my name wrong in that top one. So now what I'm going to do is connect through the boxes. I'm kind of like trace around. I'm going to do some pen so you can see it. I'm going to trace around my letter that I drew. That, and then you can just kind of go back, see how I traced around the whole thing, and go back and erase. That is the bad eraser. Now my paper's all pink. So, and then at the last one, that's where you get to be creative, and you can also use this website if you need letters to look at. The cool thing is, like, if you find a font you like, you can click on it, and then it'll show you the whole alphabet underneath of it. So if this is challenging enough doing script, you could practice that again. You could try and develop your own font. You could add designs to it. You can do almost anything for that bottom one. And that is the end of your second worksheet.